We just released a video on how to get strong fast. If you want to check that out, go here. But if you're someone like me and you want to have consistent, sustainable results, we're here to talk about how to set realistic goals. Now, within 4 years, I went from starting strongman to becoming world's strongest man. And the number one thing that I hope people pull away from that is that you're capable of way more than you ever thought you were. The bit that I hope people don't pull is that anyone could go out there and in 4 years' time could be world's strongest man, because in the end, all you can do is expose whatever you're genetically capable of and be proud of the work that it takes to do that. So I want to talk about 3 tips that are going to help you set those realistic goals for yourself. And number 1 is to be honest with your experience level. It's normal that people who are inexperienced progress faster than experienced. Number 2 is that we need to understand the law of diminishing returns. And number 3 is do not reverse engineer where you hope to be with what you need to do today. Now, expanding on point number 1, be honest with your experience level. You'll always see people online who will say, I deadlifted this, but I've only been strength training seriously for 6 months. The 5 years before that, it wasn't super serious. I was just sort of playing about. So I'm a novice. I expect to progress 20% over the next 6 months. And I saw that Jamal Browner progressed here to here, so percentage, and they start doing this weird mental math. I'm actually gonna coin the term, this is boy math. Boy math is when you take your lifts and build them up into something that they're going to be, just like girl math is how they justify purchases, which, by the way, I do girl math. I just bought a new car. I do girl math for that all the time. So it's not just limited to boys, but I'm gonna call that boy math. So your experience level, if you are truly in the first year of your resistance training routine, the first year of being fairly consistent, and you've never had a background, you are truly a novice. Now that might sound like a bit of a slight, but it's actually the time where you have the most opportunity, and it's probably the most exciting time to train. These are these times where you just go in the gym time after time after time, and you're just more capable every time you set in the gym. It feels like you could just put more weight on the bar every time, and it just always moves up. Once we get past the 1 year, I'm gonna call this a intermediate, and we're gonna call this intermediate anywhere from 1 year all the way to 3 years. Intermediate definitely can still progress, but there has to be more of a structure around the progression. It can't just be a rapid fire, a shotgun approach that we are going to get stronger every single week. You're gonna have to have blocks or mesocycles where you are progressing for 4 weeks for a certain quality, a different quality for the next 4 weeks, a different quality for the next 4 weeks, and you have to have some forward thought behind, I wanna be strongest for this period of time, this competition, this lift, whatever it may be. After 3 years, you are an advanced lifter. You're an experienced lifter, and we can no longer expect dramatic progress over short periods of time. This might sound like bad news for anyone who's been training consistently for 5 years and they want to double their deadlift, because frankly, that's not going to happen. But let's talk about some reasonable expectations for each of those levels. Over a 6-month period, if you are a novice lifter, increasing your lifts by 20% is completely within the realm of reason. If you're an intermediate lifter, increasing your lifts by 10% is completely in the realm of reason. If you're an experienced lifter, we're talking anywhere from 2 to 5% over a 6-month period is a very successful way for you to be able to think about your progression. Now, how compound interest works, 2 to 5% might not sound like a lot, but if you've been training for 4 years and you've got some big goals, multiply whatever lift you're thinking about right now by 1.04, and that's 6 months from now. And then hit enter on your calculator 10 times, and that's 5 years from now. And tell me you're not happy with that number 5 years from now. The things that stop you from getting to that number are injuries, inconsistencies, falling out of love with training, not properly programming, getting impatient, and I think keeping your goals in context is going to be one of the keys for you to continue to progress over the long run. Number 2 is understanding the law of diminishing returns. This applies to virtually everything we do ever. The more time, the more energy, the more money you put into any problem, for every unit of whatever it is that you put in, you're going to get less back from that. So this could be volume during a workout. This could be the intensity of your workouts. This could be how long you've tried powerlifting. And I promise you, the experienced powerlifters, if you went to running, you're now a novice runner. And the progress that you're gonna make early days, they're massive because you haven't experienced the law of diminishing returns. You're early in this curve that has a reverse exponential graph. I think it's logarithmic. I'm gonna say logarithmic. A logarithmic graph. And if I'm wrong, but that is what we need to appreciate. The longer you've done something, the more energy you put into something, the less return you're going to get for every unit of energy. Not to say that we shouldn't be putting in more energy, because you actually have to put in a substantial amount more energy, more effort to be able to get those small increases. Of course, we have to balance this with what your body is actually capable of and what you need to be doing in order to recover. So these are push and pull factors. And in the end, some of the luckiest people genetically are only lucky because of what they're able to recover from. And that is probably one of my biggest strengths and how I've been able to get where I get. I've been told many, many times that you're training too hard, you're working too close to failure, you're gonna burn out, you're this, you're this, you're this. And I've just been extremely fortunate that I haven't. This is not a recipe for how you need to progress, but you need to be close to what you're capable of doing and what you're capable of tolerating in a systemic way. Now, number 3 is do not reverse engineer where you hope to be. This is probably the number one mistake of every lifter ever, who says, my deadlift is 300 pounds. I want it to be 600 pounds in 2 years, meaning that next week I got to hit 320. This is the worst model possible. Same thing, actually, if we say, I have a lot of people saying, I want to become world's strongest man. And those are terrible goals, because you have no idea if you're actually capable of that or not. All you know is that you can be capable of being consistent, of progressing, of getting better, of getting stronger, and that's what you should be worried about, because that's what you should be proud of. Whatever result that happens to be doesn't really matter. Let's just say, for example, I was 7'2", 450 pounds. My max deadlift was 550 kilos. My max log press was 250 kilos. I win every strongman show. How proud could I really be if I just beat everyone marginally? Well, you can't really be proud because you're so far off what you're capable of. I don't care if you're world's strongest man, you're still not living up to your potential. In the same breath, someone who's at a local show, coming second, coming third, who is working hard to be at their potential, that person has an immense amount of work to be proud of. And I don't want anyone to set goals that takes away from the pride in accomplishing difficult things for themselves. Those are my 3 tips for how to appropriately structure your goals for progressing over the long run. Please, guys, be very, very patient. Now, I have plenty of programs out there, if you're lost in terms of programming, that will keep you on track and will stop you from getting ahead of yourself. There's a strongman off-season program that I have that you can do in a gym that's really designed to reset. If you're someone who's been hammering away at strength, and you haven't given yourself a good period of time for an off-season or some higher volume training to build that base back up, this could be a really good option for you. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I would love to know, what is your number 1 tip for setting realistic goals? And let's put some goals in the comments. Let's put them out there, manifest them, even though that shit doesn't work. As per usual, thank you for watching. If you have nothing to comment, go ahead and put a moose dropping in the comments, just a little period to help more people find this video. Otherwise, lift heavy, be kind, and we will catch you soon.